Welcome back, Global Mafia. What's the deal? What we on? I got a compilation of non-mainstream news, TikTok conspiracy compilations, and information that's going to disassociate ourselves from that indoctrination the system tried to give us and get straight through them set of lies that was agreed upon. One person will never know everything, but as a whole, we're going to figure everything out. Shout out to the new Mafia members, overappreciated. Let's have a conversation in the comments. If you new, you're here for a reason, hit that sub button. But hit that like button no matter what to help more than you think. And let's get in the algorithm.
And they just don't even give up to like dig it up. You know, the Terracotta Army excavation site is only 5% dug out, and they just stopped because the ancient people booby trapped it with mercury. And like China has more pyramids than the rest of the world combined, straight up like Egyptian pyramid under this pile of dirt, and they're like, yeah, we don't feel like digging it up right now, we'll hit it later.
Do you have any personal knowledge of people who have been harmed or injured in efforts to cover up or conceal these extraterrestrial technology?
Yes. Personally.
Have anyone been murdered that you would think that you know of or have heard of, I guess?
I have to be careful asking that question. I directed people with that knowledge to the appropriate authorities.
Has the U.S. government become aware of actual evidence of extraterrestrial, otherwise unexplained forms of intelligence? And if so, when do you think this first occurred?
I like to use the term non-human. I don't like to denote origin. Keeps the aperture open, both scientifically. Right. Certainly, like I've discussed publicly previously, 1930s.
Okay. Can you give me the names and titles of the people with direct firsthand knowledge and access to some of this crash retrieval, some of these crash retrieval programs, and maybe which facilities, military bases that the recovered material would be in?
I can't discuss that publicly, but I did provide that information both to the intel committees and the Inspector General.
Mr. Gresh, finally, do you believe that our government is in possession of UAPs?
Absolutely, based on interviewing over 40 witnesses over 4 years.
And where?
I know the exact locations, and those locations were provided to the Inspector General and some of which to the intelligence committees. I actually had the people with the firsthand knowledge provide a protected disclosure to the Inspector General.
Thank you.
Okay, I can't ask when you think this occurred. If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Videos weren't released by the deadline. But what if they legally can't be? So Congressman Tim Burchett just posted, and he asked, did anyone actually believe that they would release them? Then John Greenwald from the Black Vault, he responded to this post, and he didn't just criticize the non-release of the videos, he actually chimed in on why. He basically said, it's not about releasing the videos, it's that they're being classified in a way that makes them exempt entirely. So in simple terms, it's not the footage that's locked down, it's the system around it. And we actually have proof of that. So in a response to one of Greenwald's previous FOIA requests, which he is like the king of FOIA requests, it's incredible, the government stated in a reply that UAP videos are being because releasing them could reveal military capabilities, vulnerabilities, and operational methods. Feel free to pause this and read the whole thing, but basically, they boil it down to national security. And they even said that no portion of the videos can be separated and released. So then Lou Elizondo chimed in, and he said, that's exactly the issue. And he added that there is an actual UAP security classification guide that someone should request. Interesting. What is that guide? Well, that basically determines what can never be released. So this isn't just about transparency anymore. I mean, it's about a system that's designed so that even if someone wants to release the footage, they can't. So is this about secret?
Check this out.
I don't know anything about your family.
Oh,
Turns out you have a brother who is a scientist, a
high energy particle scientist.
High energy particle scientist.
Scientist. He's one of the finest scientists on Earth.
And where does he do his work?
At CERN, where they, I think there's 200 of them that, released this information about the Higgs particle, the God particle, and he was one of the scientists who made that discovery.
Did you catch that? Actress Sally Field, which is connected to two major Mandela effects, her brother happens to be a top scientist in CERN? Yeah, CERN, and not just CERN, the particle accelerator CERN. First of all, let's break this down. In 1985, Sally Field accepted an award. All of us remember her speech, and she said, "You like me, you really like me," but she didn't say that.
I can't deny the fact that you like me right now. You like me.
Okay, number two, her name is Sally Field, singular. It's not Sally Fields. It's not Sally Field at all.
You know, I'm asking you this because it drives me crazy when people refer to you as Sally Fields.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But they always have. It's always, I guess it's easier to say Fields and not go feel good.
Even though all these publications say Sally Fields, it has never been Sally Fields. How is that possible? There's no way it is Sally Fields. It has always been Sally Fields with an S. There's two. You like me, you really like me. Even though she mocked this on SNL and she went along with the joke.
At least there's one person left. Why didn't you leave like everybody else?
Because I like you. I really, really like you.
Good enough for me.
Then her brother happens to be one of the top scientists at CERN, the particle accelerator program. Come on now. Come on now. Here she is with David Letterman talking about things colliding. Is she talking about timelines?
Where we are.
How we started, how the world collided. I mean, how we all collided. It smashed to pieces and became what we have.
Yeah. And
there's a picture of her at CERN with her brother. This is real. This is a real picture. I don't know about this one, brother. Did you know that? One of the biggest Mandela effects, and you're telling me her brother just so happens to work at CERN. Do you know the probabilities of that? Like going to the NBA, like for a scientist or a scholar to be at CERN, and not only at CERN, to be one of the top scientists at CERN, and not only be a top scientist at CERN, to work on the particle accelerator God particle program. Just so happens to have one of the biggest Mandela effects. Come on, let me know what you
Coincidences, I don't believe in them, but that many coincidences is utterly insane. First and foremost, did you peep how she said worlds collide? She was referring to the Big Bang Theory, but a lot of people think that our worlds collide and that's what caused the acceleration of everything, not two atoms or whatever they say. So did she just slip up on her verbiage because her brother and herself have conversations and that's the terms that they use? I don't know.
These clowns are out here casually touching it, popping the hatch like it's a damn lunchbox. Oh yeah, totally normal. No gloves, no burns, no steam, nothing. Just a bunch of dudes in little boats yanking the door open while the astronauts inside wave like they just got back from Disney World. The thing that allegedly survived a literal inferno is cooler than my morning coffee. Thermodynamics? NASA left that boring earth science back at the gift shop. But wait, it gets better. Zoom in on the crowd. Look at all these geniuses holding up their phones to film the big, historic moment. Except, the screens don't match. The phones are showing completely different angles, different lighting, like they're filming a green screen set in a studio. They're not even hiding it anymore. And speaking of acting, their star astronaut engineer Christina Koch also pops up on IMDb, credited in Mad Max Fury Road with the Vuvolini, the many mothers. Same name, same face. So is she an elite space explorer, or just another Hollywood actress playing astronaut? NASA is straight up laughing at you. One second it's a fireball from hell, next second it's a cozy splashdown photo op with smiling actors waving, and the phones in the crowd are basically yelling, "CGI, bro," right at the camera. They never show you real fireball footage. No clear amateur videos. Just cartoons, quick hello-goodbye clips, and studio shots that look like they were filmed in a Hollywood.
Each other coming up. They not telling you that shit. You gonna have to depend on somebody that don't look like you. Yeah. See, we are scheduled to starve to death lest we work together. For the first time in 400 years, It's going to be no Hispanics in the field to pick the fruits and the vegetables and the crops that we all eat and enjoy.
Now, I want everybody to pay extreme close attention to what's going on in the background. These are our senators, our leaders, the people that are supposed to have our best interests at heart when making laws. This is in the middle of the sea unaliving at the max rate moment right now, in the middle of that. And these people are standing shoulder to shoulder when we're supposed to be 6 foot apart, social distancing, getting handed out masks out of a packet. So everything looks right, and the perception that's portrayed on camera is that everything is so serious. Look at the buffoonery.
This part in the Terminator series, because basically he explains to her that the man most responsible for the robots taking over is this guy that creates a microprocessor chip and sells it to the military. And what the military does with this microprocessor chip is they put it in military aircraft and they use AI with these aircraft so that the aircraft don't have to have people in them. And what happens is the aircraft get so good that they have a perfect operational record, and they eventually pass a bill that no human decisions are basically needed in the line of defense. And what happens after a while is the AI starts to become self-aware. And once it starts to become self-aware, they try to basically shut the whole thing down, and basically it fights back. See, they try to pull the plug.
Sphinx water erosion theory. This is basically a theory about how the Great Sphinx is significantly older than the Great Pyramids. People think this because the Sphinx's body is significantly more eroded and rounded, with these vertical gullies in it that look like it had been carved by heavy, sustained rainfall. Since Egypt has been a bone-dry desert for thousands of years, some argue that this statue must have been built during a time that the climate was significantly different, possibly as far back as 10,000 BC. If this were true, it would imply that there was some sort of sophisticated lost civilization that existed long before the pharaohs. Akhenaten was an alien, so this is a really fun one. Akhenaten was a pharaoh who ruled for 17 years, and some think that he was like an alien. A lot of people think this because this dude looks so weird. A lot of the art surrounding him depicted him with this elongated skull, spindly, skinny limbs, and a pot belly, and his face just looked super weird. Along with this, he suddenly, for some reason, replaced Egypt's entire group of gods with this single sun disk god called Aten. This has made a lot of people that believe in like the ancient astronaut stuff go on about how his extreme devotion to Aten wasn't like a religion, it was rather a literal description of this hovering, shiny craft that gave him celestial instructions, and that he was being influenced by aliens, or that he was from aliens and that sort of thing. And yeah, it is really weird. He was a weird looking dude. Moving on to King Tut's dagger. This is super cool. King Tut had a dagger made out of meteorite that we found in his tomb. So this knife was literally made out of something that came from outside of our planet. It was made roughly 6,000 years ago, before iron smelting was even invented in Egypt, which
The current historians believe that the pyramids were either built 12,000 years ago or 38,000 years ago, because that's when the Sphinx aligns with, I believe, Orion. Don't quote me on that. Somebody in the comments spam it up. I just want to know the right information. But 12,000 years ago, the Earth was going through a tumultuous time. Almost leads to believe 38,000 years ago, there was a super advanced civilization that we're being kept from knowing about. Let me know how y'all feel about it. I can go down a deep rabbit hole on this specifically for the members.
Oh, you son of a bitch. When you see red buildings like this, you know you're dealing with mud flood. Don't try and tell me this is a basement, brother. Don't do it. Don't listen. Remember the #1 rule of a mud flood building? Steps that lead up to the front door. Come on, G. Look how big the doorway is. What's this? It's mud flood. Look, windows. I love it. Buried. better read. Oh, you got your ass now. Look, with this window, they just gave up. They said, we know it's in the wrong place. We know something's not right. So we're just gonna just box it off. Oh. Man can't tell me to sit mud flood. Come on, brother.
So this was made in 1967. The French-Israeli Six-Day War commemorative medal was issued to French Jewish volunteers for the war effort of the Six-Day War. The back depicts a flag of Israel with an olive branch and a sword on either side, with a variation of the French national motto written as freedom, peace, brotherhood around the edge in French, along with the Hebrew word bazak, meaning swift, and more French reading under the Star of David campaign of 6 days, with the period it took place in underneath it, June 5th to 10th, 1967. Now, the Six-Day War was a famous battle fought between Israel and a coalition of Arab states, primarily Egypt, Syria, and Jordan, during a time of increasing tensions between these nations, as the newly formed Israel, created just 20 years earlier in 1948, launched a massive surprise attack against Egypt on June 5th in 1967, from which Israel swiftly took control over the Sinai Peninsula and the Gaza Strip from Egypt, the West Bank and the Old City of Jerusalem from Jordan, and the Golan Heights from Syria, leading to Israel growing 3 times its size in landmass in the span of those 6 days. The front of this medal features more Hebrew text along the outer edge, translating to, "With God's will was saved the peace of the world," along with images of a plane, an armored carrier tank, and the Torah, depicted as an ancient scroll as is typically portrayed in Jewish tradition. The more you know.
Now, Global Mafia members, say it with me. You already know where I'm going with this. If we go down the route of ancient history and the architecture in the US of A and anywhere in the world, we'll get closer to the truth somehow. We'll get a little closer, I promise you that. But that was the end of the compilation.